Listen, yeah, form is temporary. Poch out is permanent. Now, this game, man, we beat Palace, but Pochettino has done absolutely nothing to stake his claim as being deserving of the role of Chelsea manager because it was a pitiful performance. There's nothing to be optimistic about. We're showing no signs of improvement. Um, I even remember back earlier in the season when we beat Spurs 4-1. People that didn't watch the game or like rival fans, they were all saying things like, why are you not happy? You just beat Spurs 4-1, they're your arch rivals. How can you be upset with a 4-1 win? It's because as Chelsea fans, we threw the towel in quite early. We saw the signs that we weren't going to compete at the highest level this season. And we'd be lucky to challenge for the Champions League. So in that game against Tottenham, we weren't looking for 3 points. We weren't looking for something to brag about over our rivals. We're used to flexing trophies, not results. We're a big team over here. So we wanted to see something that gave us hope that we were building towards competing. And even though we beat Spurs 4-1 in that game, we were not given something to be hopeful about. The performance itself wasn't good enough. We had to wait till they had 9 men to start being a threat. Like even Nicholas Jackson scored his hat trick, but he should have scored like 7. So he wasn't showing any promise of leading our line. Even like we were pretty much handed that game because after Spurs went down to 9 men, where they could have parked the bus, which we've shown that we're weak against teams that camp out, we would have had problems. But he gave us that win with a tactical disaster class, even though loads of the pundits were like bigging up Spurs for going for it. Like it was one of the worst tactical displays I've ever seen. Like he left his team so vulnerable, and like we're a quick team going forward, and he tried to bring the game to us, left himself wide open. That wasn't a game that Chelsea like snatched by the scruff of the neck. That game was given to us by poor tactics, and we capitalized, and we should have capitalized even more. So with that, I say that to say this: like we're further on in the season, 19 games gone. And look, we've got nothing to be optimistic about because we saw from that Tottenham game that 4-1 win was not a turning point because here we are now. It's like, oh. So, yeah, and, we lost against Wolves. That was awful in itself. But one thing I do want to point out, like the talking point of the game is obviously the Sterling opportunity where he had Palmer and Jackson. He could have squared it to for open goal, and he decided to go solo and he just hit straight at the keeper. Obviously, poor decision, deserves all the criticism, all the scrutiny. But you're not getting carried away, man. Like to say he cost us the game single-handedly when before that opportunity he was carrying our attack, and then we scored a goal that he assisted. So what are you talking about? That's rectifying his mistake, no? He cost us a goal, got us one back with a good cross into Nkunku. Nkunku. Into Nkunku. So, yeah, what are you talking about? And we lost by 2 goals. Obviously, if we scored that 1 goal at that moment in time, the momentum of the game would have shifted in our favor. But if one missed opportunity can shift the mentality of the whole team like that and take the wind out of ourselves, we have much bigger problems afoot. And that's a mentality problem. And mentality starts with the manager. And yeah, there we go. There's a sign Poch ain't good enough. You can't build a winning mentality, that steely resilience, where you can miss an opportunity, not even go 1 goal down, miss an opportunity in like the 30th minute, and you're losing hope. Then you're not a leader. Where is the leadership? It's not good enough. And then yeah, the 2 goals, yeah, sloppy. I think what's it? Ugochukwu was awful. He didn't even. How's a player gonna like these crosses keep killing us, man? Like he didn't even think it's Lamina. He didn't even have to jump to win his header in the middle of our box. We've got how many 6-foot+ defenders in our team, and he didn't have to jump to win his header in the middle of our box. And then other cross and Badiashile just like pretty much passes it to the Wolves player and they scored a second. Is that Sterling's fault too? Like you lot take the mick, man. Like I understand that he should have done better with that chance. Obviously, like a man of his talent and his experience, he should be leading by example. And being that selfish, Like it's not the way. Obviously, he has been carrying us for a lot of the season and for that Wolves game up until that moment. But come on, man, you got to put the team first. And I think even the fact he was willing to make such an atrocious decision is also partly like the manager's partly responsible because he's not doing that under Pep Guardiola. He's not doing that because he knows he's going to get benched the next game and he's going to struggle to get his place back. Not even just because of the amount of talent he's up against, just out of pure principle from Pep. Whereas this is the second time he's done something like this. There's going to be, there's going to be no consequence. No one's going to even talk about it. Like, for moments like that, yeah, like you've got to, I wouldn't say make an example out of him, but just lay down the law. To remind him that the team comes first. I'm not going to lie. He shouldn't need reminding at his big age. Like, that is poor from him. But you can't blame the entire 3 points lost on that moment alone because there was on many other poor moments defensively and going forward. But yeah, we move on to Palace. Yeah, good goal. Gusto, great play to set up the goal and to even start the attack. You see what happens when you play players in their right positions, when you play a right back at right back and he does right back things like run forward and give us width and bomb forward, create opportunities. You see what happens, Mauricio? Flipping idiot. Oh my God. Yeah. And then yeah, poor again for the equalizer for Palace. At least another cross comes in. Colwell's left his position to try and attack the ball to go for aerial duel that Badiashile should have been cleaning up, by the way. He didn't even go for it. And the ball goes over his head. And Elise's there, takes a touch and then pokes it past the keeper. I know people are blaming Caicedo for ball watching, but can you really blame him? Like, no one's expecting Colwell to just rush out of his position and head the ball. Like, and once Elise brings the ball down, like, it's over. Caicedo ain't gonna make it in time. I know a lot of you want him to just run for show and be like that passion merchant that just shows he's trying. Like how Mason Mount used to do when he just ran for lost causes to show he's working hard. Like, it's not enough, is it? Like, that's on Colwell. I'm sorry. I like the guy. I think he's very talented. But again, he's a centre-back playing left-back. Like, being left-footed doesn't mean you can just play on a left-back. And Pochettino knows better than that. It's poor managerially. Like, it's his first season playing for Chelsea. He's got the number 26 on his back. There's enough pressure as it is to adapt to the levels. And you're putting him left-back when he's a centre-back. It just doesn't make sense. It's not working out, especially when at the start of the season we had 3 fit left backs, and you've got one playing right midfield this game, and you're playing Colwell left back. Oh man, it's so infuriating. Just so many bad decisions, and like it showed in that goal because Colwell, he's a centre back. He's used to attacking balls, aerial balls. That's normally his job. It's not normally his job to look over his shoulder to see who's out wide. So it was the wrong decision, but sometimes things move quickly in football and you rely on your instincts. You rely on that muscle memory. He's got the muscle memory of a centre-back because he's a centre-back. And that led to him making a mistake. That's what happens when you play people out of position. Things just don't work out. And again, as much as Colwell's fault for the goal, I'm putting it on Poch. You gotta give young players grace in their first season in senior football. And that grace normally includes playing them in their rightful position. And Pochettino obviously isn't doing. And then, he hooks Colwell after 55 minutes and puts Gusto, who's been our best player, he even got man of the match, puts him left back. So again, another player out of position where the one player like he's causing problems, defending really well and also going forward, providing width because Maatsen weren't doing it for us because he's also out of position because he's a left back playing right wing, not being played. He's not doing well because it's not what he does. So it's just so infuriating. Oh man. And yeah, Disasi, disaster, back at right back. He is not a right back. Why keep playing him there? Like, I understood when it was injuries, and it's like needs must, but that's poor. He's played him there so many times. And when I first became Poch out, it was because he played Disasi right back against Brentford because Gusto was fit. And he obviously put Disasi because Brentford are aerial threat and he wanted to nullify that. But we are Chelsea. We shouldn't be altering our game plans to deal with them. We should be bringing our game plan to them to give them something to think about. We're a big team. We set the tempo. We set the initiative. We set the levels. We don't change our game for them to be setting pace on us. That's just not how things go at Chelsea. It just shows he's got a little man mentality, and I understand why he didn't work out at PSG now. Like, I even saw an old tweet about from a PSG fan talking about how he kept playing Kimpembe at fullback. Like, the guy is a lost cause, man, and the senior management did not do their due diligence, like hiring him. Like, I really thought he'd do much better than he has, man. Like, to be honest, when we had Tuchel as manager, and I had a bit more arrogance about me and my club because we had something, we were big boys still. I was mocking the idea of having Pochettino as manager. I was saying, look, this guy made Messi look like Barini. Why would we take him over Tuchel? But then obviously Tuchel got wrongfully sacked. Then we had the absolute disaster class of Potter and the walking managerial nightmare that is Frank Lampard. I had PTSD, man. Like, that was some of the worst moments of my life as a Chelsea fan. Having Lampard come back. Like, you can see the videos are there. Like, you can see the hope void from my eyes. Like, I knew what was coming. Like, we were nearly dragged into a relegation battle. Like, I saw it coming. People thought I was being dramatic. I knew that was the Chelsea as I knew and loved. They were gone in that moment, and it showed. So after that, hearing that we'd get Pochettino, it was like being like in a desert for 5 days and someone like offering me tap water. Like, even if I wouldn't normally drink tap water, I'm dying of thirst here. So I'm going to be sucking from that tap flipping, trying to get every drop because I've been starved of a decent manager. But now I'm still starving. We're halfway through the season. I'm still starved of a manager. I'm dying out here, man. Help me out. But yeah, we managed to win the game. Funnily enough, it's Noni Madueke who scores the winning goal, a player who Pochettino has been actively trying to freeze out by playing left back in his position instead of him, while I think he's got a stat like he's been the best dribbler in the Premier League in terms of per 90 minutes. Like, perfect understudy for to play while Sterling isn't available. But no, you play the left back there. And then Madueke, when he comes on as like a last resort, I don't even know if you even had faith of him to change the game or you just wanted to give him minutes for the hell of it. He's come, won the penalty, scored the penalty. So what does that say about your judgment, Poch? It doesn't look good, does it? Like every call this guy has to make, he makes the wrong one. He is not fit for the role. He's not Chelsea standard. Is awful. And even like, people talk about, Colwill and all these mistakes. Like, individual errors skyrocket when there's no structure. And you can see in the way they play, there's no structure. There's no phase of play. There's no pattern of play. There's no plan. Even when we have possession, we're okay, but you can tell, like, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just doing it on the fly. It's like when the school football team comes together. Like, you don't play every Sunday together, but you got vibes. You know who's a good player, so you kind of just go with the vibe and like grind out a result. But this, man, it's not good enough because you can tell when a player gets the ball, when he receives the ball, there's no plan. He doesn't know what to do next. He's working on pure ingenuity. Like, if you look at the teams like Liverpool, Arsenal, City, when they receive the ball, they know where their teammates are going to be. Like, Harvey Elliott might really receive the ball in midfield. He'd be like, okay, Salah's going to make that run inside. Trent's going to pull out wide. My man's going to drop a bit deeper. And he knows where people are going to be before he receives the ball. So that makes things, it gives you a sense of calm, a sense of assurance, because there's a plan. If you want to do a bit extra, be something more ingenuitive, then you have that freedom, but you also know you have a fallback option of players that are where they're supposed to be, making movements. And he knows as soon as he releases the ball, he knows where he's going to go next. He knows the plan, what he's supposed to do, the next step, the next phase of play. In Chelsea, you can just tell there's always a sense of rush, a sense of panic. Like, I think people think it's just, we're playing fast tempo football. But if you just look If you just look closely, you can tell they don't know what to do next. Like they receive the ball, they don't know where the teammate's gonna be. They don't know where to pass or what to do next. They're just going off vibes. Like, and when you're operating at such a high sense of urgency all the time, not because it's your style of play, but because there is no style, and you're just working off pure fight or flight. I need to do something or I'm going to lose the ball. Like, then you're going to make mistakes because there's no assurance there. You're always working urgency, and that is tiring. It's mentally fatiguing and it's physically fatiguing. So yeah, mistakes are going to creep into your game. That's why individual errors, they rise when there's no good tactics, because there's always a sense of urgency and panic, and it drains you throughout the game. And then mistakes happen. And you see that, Chelsea. You saw it with Lampard. Come on, man. Like, we're repeating history and no one's learning the lessons here. And it's horrible to see. Like, Lampard, like, he made Rudiger look like an absolute awful player. I'm not gonna lie. I was one of the many people that wanted him gone. I'd lost faith in him. And then Tuchel comes in, turns him into a world beater because he had a plan, he had a strategy, he had tactics. Rudiger knew what to do when he was on the ball. He knew what to do when he was off the ball. He had a plan. He had a manager that told him how to play, how the team were meant to play football. And now he's at Real Madrid and he's doing well over there. Guess what? He's under another good manager. And he goes by the name of Ancelotti. And even Andre Christensen. He was looking like an absolute shell of a human being, let alone football player under Lampard. And then now look at him. Under Tuchel, he was flying. We were all on our knees begging to keep Christensen. He went to Barcelona, and why the hell shouldn't he? Why the hell shouldn't he? And he's thriving over there as well. So come on, man. Look, and all the players we're signing, we spent £1 billion on football players, and every single one of them looked amazing at their former clubs. They've come here and they look crap. Do you really think it's all the individual players? It's their fault? No, there's one common denominator, and it's Chelsea Football Club. It's the way we're run. It's the way we're managed. It's the culture. They're coming here and they're not thriving. I promise you, if Madrid went to Arsenal, he'd be flying. There's so many players. Even if Caicedo went to Arsenal, I remember I had like some debate with like my boy, and he was saying like, if Declan Rice came to Chelsea, we'd be in a much better position. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Nothing to do with the way I feel about Declan Rice. It's just Chelsea as an environment for players, in terms of them thriving in a footballing sense, it's toxic. I think in this current structure, we could take any player and make them look rubbish. Like I said, Pochettino made Lionel Messi, the best football player ever, made him look rubbish. He made him look awful. You think he can't turn Declan Rice into nothing? You think he can't turn him into Basmati? Like, come on, man. Come on. Like, I think like, if Caicedo went to Arsenal, I think he'd be flying at Arsenal. I don't know if he'd do as well as Rice, because obviously Arteta had a plan for Rice and whatnot. But I think if Caicedo went to Arsenal, another team, he'd be flying. But Caicedo's done. I think he's done it right. But there's the thing of him having a number 25 on his back. He brought out of retirement. If you're gonna do that, you've got to absolutely light it up, and he hasn't done that. I think you've invited that scrutiny onto yourself. You need to rise up, man. In all honesty, you've got to rise up. But Pochettino, he has to go. I don't think I can make my points any clearer. And honestly, even if we win the next 20 games, I'm still going to be Poch out, because the only reason that'll happen is because Nkunku finds form, or he goes back to what he was doing in pre-season because Nkunku's fit. But I'm sorry, if your success is solely reliant on one player, you're not a good manager and you're not fit for Chelsea. How long has Kevin De Bruyne been out for City? I know they're not top of the league like they normally are, but they're not 12 either, are they? So, like, Nkunku injury shouldn't be the difference between 12th and 4th. It should be the difference between 1st and 2nd, maybe 1st and 3rd. You shouldn't be dropping more than 6-7 places because of one injury. And if that's the case, you're not a good manager, son. Like, being a good manager means managing your resources. If you ain't got If you lose one of your resources, you need to have a plan B. And no plan B should involve 12th place for Chelsea FC, man. Not after this amount of games. And I think it might be 10th now after the Palace result, but who the hell cares at this point? What's the difference between 10th and 12th, man? If we're not top four fighting for the title, who cares at this point? So yeah, Poch out forever. That's my rant over.